Hi YouTube, it's me again, your girl Sherelle, and this time I'm going to tell the story about how I found out that I had thyroid cancer. Yeah, thyroid cancer. One night I was all good and dandy, having fun with my son in the house. Everything was cool. Then I went to bed. When I wake up in the morning, I felt something wasn't right here. There was a lump there. I couldn't eat, and it hurts to talk. Something was going on there. So I told my son early that morning, I said, I can't talk and I can't eat. We need to go to the urgent care right away. So we got dressed, and then we went to the urgent care early that morning. When I got there, they took some x-ray of my throat and said, Miss Harrison, there's something in your throat and you have to go to the emergency room right away. You can't go back home. You have to go to emergency room. Don't go back home. Go straight to the emergency room. So when they told me that, I said to myself, that sounds very serious. And I said to my son, the urgent care, it wasn't far from the train station, so we jumped in the train and we went to the city and we went to the hospital. The urgent care, they had gave me a letter that I had to give to the hospital when we got there. So when we got there, I gave the hospital the letter, and I told them that I was coming from the urgent care, and they sent me to the emergency room. Yeah, so they took me. They did their own workup. They did some scan, and they did some other things to the throat, and so they could see what was going on inside. Then they told me that I was not going home. I had to stay in the hospital. So I called my son, because this was during the time of COVID, and they weren't letting anyone inside, so you had to go in by yourself. So I called my son and I said, you better go home, because they're not letting me out. They're keeping me in the hospital. They didn't say why, but they're keeping me. And they kept me. They kept me for 2 days because I couldn't swallow. It was hard. It was getting hard to breathe, and something was in my throat. So after 2 days, they told me that they're gonna sign me out the hospital, but I can't go home. I have to go across the street so they could put a needle inside, and they could do a biopsy. When I got across, so I called my son that day, sorry, and I said, you got to meet me at the hospital because they're letting me out, but I can't go home. I have to go straight across the street so they could do a biopsy and they could pull out whatever was in my throat. I went across the street when my son got there, and they put a needle down in my throat, and they pull out whatever that was in there. They pull it out, and they took a biopsy, and then they sent me home. A few days after that, they called me and told me that I would have to do an operation to take out half of my thyroid. So I made an appointment, and they took out half my thyroid. They sent it for a biopsy and came back. I had thyroid cancer. That's the story of my life. So every time I go to the hospital, there is just something new. But by God's grace, I'm here and I'm a living testimony that God is a good God. All you have to do is just trust Him. Trust and believe that God can move mountain. He can do anything. He's a God that never fails. So, like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend so they can join my channel, and you can press that notification bell so you can know whenever time I post a video, and we'll be a family. Peace.